So you asked me, do I think they need the title for the match?
Yeah.
I believe the title hurts the match.
There you go. Because it makes the finish more obvious, in my opinion.
Well, what are we fighting over, the title or head of the table?
That's right. And when he did his promo a month ago and he came back as he beat up Jinder and he's getting ready to skedaddle, he said, hey, before The Rock goes, The Rock's going to have some dinner. Should The Rock eat at a booth? Should The Rock eat at a bar? Or should The Rock sit at the head of the table? And that's what everybody wanted to hear. He didn't say The Rock's coming for the world championship.
That to me is the 3-year culmination of the Bloodline story.
Yes.
And I also think you can tie Sami Zayn back in.
Yes.
But if you tie Sami Zayn back in, then you can bring Kevin Owens. And Conrad, hey, Marcus, while I'm thinking about this real time, last year at Mania, I think there's a soundbite of me that I was leaning into. I understand they just did the merger. I understand ABC and business. And I think I probably said, I'm sure I said or felt it. Look, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that I have no idea about. But Cody came, he debuted a year later, WrestleMania in Dallas. My Cody cried, literally cried when he saw Cody walk down the ramp at that Mania. So for him to not win the title and go out and be the flag bearer at live events and carry the weight and everything with it, I thought they missed the opportunity last year. I am not the biggest, like Mick Foley's promo said it all. The number of days of a reign, I think that's only internal. We count that. The wrestling fan, it's like, okay, you're Super Bowl champion. You won that game. When the season starts back in September, it's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. So a lengthy reign, Bruno's reign, Hogan's reign, whatever it may be, when the time's right to move the title, the time's right. I think they've missed a few opportunities. But the Cody last year, well, fast forward now to a year. Now look at the set of circumstances. I don't know.
Hey, let me ask you this. You're a basketball junkie, self-admitted, true or false?
Absolutely true.
So who is the third all-time leading scorer? Not who's number one, who's third?
Kareem?
Nope.
So LeBron, my bad. No, LeBron won. Michael, no.
Nope. My point is, nobody gives a shit. We all know who's number one. It's LeBron James. Number one, most days as WWE champion, is Bruno Sammartino. Number two is Bob Backlund. Number three is Hulk Hogan. Number four is Roman Reigns. Who fucking cares? Even in real sports, people don't get excited about being the third longest reigning. So this whole mythical, well, he's got to pass Hogan's record. For what? He's still third. He's going to have to be the fucking champ for 4 more years to beat Bruno. And is that what we're going to do?
Well, hell no.
There's a solo interfering. Same old shit. 4 more years? No, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Mick Foley's one of the biggest legends in the history of wrestling. He didn't even hold it a whole calendar month. It's about
reigns. 3 reigns.
Yes. Yes.
That said a lot.
Look at the number of days that Dusty was champ total. Not a bunch. I mean, we're talking about a handful of days.
Yes.
My point is, number one matters. Number two, number three, number four, it doesn't matter. You knew LeBron right away. The answer was Karl Malone, by the way.
So he's third.
Karl Malone's third.
LeBron, Kareem, Karl.
You want to guess 4 and 5 since you're a junkie?
Jordan.
Not 4. One person's ahead of him. He's no longer with us. Kobe Bryant.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Okay, good.
My point is, you're a self-admitted basketball junkie, and you didn't know the top 5, but you knew the first one.
Yeah.
Because that's the one that matters. I'm just saying, this whole thing makes no sense, and I think The Rock being there is an absolute home run for WWE. But I do think they've got to pivot.
And the business.
The entire industry. And it's great for Netflix. It's great for TKO. In a weird way, it's great for the UFC because he's on the board. He's going to be at UFC stuff.
It's great for AEW.
It's great for GCW. It's great for Impact.
They said better. Yes.
Yes. I mean, up and down. I know that people online have decided that I'm a Cody stan. Okay, fair enough. But I'm also a fan of, hey man, are we watching the product? Are we paying attention? Because 10 years ago, this shit was so sideways, Punk walked out. Because he knew, hey, Brian's supposed to be in that match. It can't be Batista and Triple H. Now, what did we get instead? They figured it out. Brian got his big moment, and it was huge. I would argue this is bigger. You got licensees who are putting things behind this. This is the culmination of a 2-year story. And I know everybody says, okay, he wins the belt, and then what? All right, smart ass. Roman beats The Rock, and then what? Where do we go?
So were you in agreement last year? I got to ask you that Cody didn't win last year.
I understood that. I mean, as Kevin Sullivan said, he hadn't slayed enough dragons. He needed to overcome more adversity. And I'm sure that was disappointing for Cody last year. But if you recall, he had missed a chunk of time because of the torn pec. The torn pec now is part of that story, that he, came back, beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, went 3-0, even with one arm in a Hell in a Cell with the torn pec, comes back at the Rumble, wins, punches his ticket. Maybe that wasn't a long enough runway. I think what they were trying to do is make sure there wasn't backlash. If you recall, when they first started this real push for Roman, like 10 years ago, people were sort of vomiting it up. They're like, oh, you're shoving him down our throat. And they did that to The Rock in 96 and 97. And fans were bringing horrible signs to shows, and it didn't work. They had to let it breathe a little bit, and then it worked. And I think that's what they were trying to do with Cody last year, is make sure there wasn't backlash. But at this point, he's overcome Brock Lesnar. He's done the tag title thing. He's won a second Rumble. He's on the cover of the video game. The whole campaign is about finishing the story. And we're going to pivot? Like, I think they have to pivot now, Jeff. And I think, as you said, there's all these Raws, there's all these SmackDowns. And according to Mike Johnson, Brian is back and helping handle a lot of The Rock's creative. Brian's a wrestling fucking genius. I have complete faith and confidence they're going to pivot. But if they don't, it's going to be bad in Philadelphia. I mean, remember when Rock was in there raising Roman's hand at the Royal Rumble a few years ago? Those fans were near riotous. They didn't want it.
So I also haven't heard you kind of mention this part of it all. And I think sometimes because we, Vince Russo, a Glenn Gilberti was, in the wrestling bubble. And, sometimes there's some validity to that. Of this, here's something that I think that it's not a casual fan. I don't even want to put, I'm saying a fan. Meltzer tweeted recently that when AJ Styles debuted in Orlando, it was because they knew him as a New Japan star. And I just went, I know Dave has a bias. I think, I believe against TNA. I think personally against Jeff Jarrett. I think I'm just like, that was one of the most ridiculous statements. I mean, talking to people internally, I'm positive they would laugh at it's like, what? AJ had been on Spike television for 8 years. In 2016, AJ in his New Japan in America, I don't know how many times he had been on. Very few. I mean, it'd be online, but they did, maybe the Access program. I don't know, but that's silly. My point where I'm going with this is that I believe finishing the story, and I think a big, ginormous part of that phrase has to do with, Buddy Knows Dusty and all that. But let's fast forward up to, and you'll be better with the years, but late 2000s, early 2010s, when this same guy was Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
And he told, and he left not on the greatest terms, and he hustled. And not everybody knows that, but lots of folks know that he is one of the original talents of the Challenger brand. And rose up to the ranks and lots of national television and lots of promos and what do you want to talk about and everything that goes with that. And obviously things didn't go as either side, not pointing fingers, as everyone had planned. And he left a place that he was a part of founding.
Yeah.
And he went back to a place to finish a story.
Yes.
I just think the totality of the story, that's why you were, I'm trying to comment on there. You were saying, well, they wanted to make sure there's no backlash and this and that. I think Cody came back, won WrestleMania, the following WrestleMania. I'm still leaning into that. I think they missed an opportunity last year that people digested because of the sale and the announcement and everything that went with that. Now a year later, it's like, oh God, okay.
Well, let me say this too, from a business standpoint. Who made all the live events last year?
Cody.
Who was on the card when they broke every live event record last year?
Cody.
Who sold more merch for the calendar year 2023 than anybody in the professional wrestling business last year?
Think about that stat right there. Seriously, think about that stat. I mean, I don't think people need to lose sight of that. That is a legit metric, measurable, that is talent specific.
Yes.
It's no longer the days of, oh, heels don't sell merchandise. Well, no, talent sells merch. And Cody's the number one for the calendar year. That's
of 2023, more than anybody in AEW and WWE and New Japan. Cody sold more merch in 2023 than any other wrestler. He's on the cover of the video game. The entire campaign is around that. What? He just won the Rumble back to back. You undermine what the Rumble means. Just stop saying it's for you get a title shot and start giving them a fucking trophy. Give them a little goofy medal to wear around. Oh, they get a ring. I won the Rumble. It's my Rumble ring.
But hold on, we got 18 Raws. And
oh no, there's plenty. I'm saying they can pivot, but I'm saying when you dial into this, in my opinion, the company has overcorrected. I don't think there's any malice. I don't think The Rock is a bad guy. Are you kidding? I'm so thankful he's there. I know Brian's a fucking wrestling genius. Do I think both of them are sitting down and watching a 3-hour Raw and a 2-hour SmackDown every week? There's no chance.
Hell, I'm in the business and to stay watching, and I try to watch, you know me, I try to watch GCW.
Yes.
I loved it that our man Cardona and Dolph or Nick got on first so they could catch their red eyes. I probably shouldn't have said that.
Well, we know why. Yeah.
But no, I love it all, but it's impossible when they've got so many things going on. But I'm still kind of, let's go back, and I don't want to cross-pollinate here, but as we sit today, as we're recording this, Rock has not made in character one comment.
That's correct. And maybe he will tonight on Raw as we're recording on Monday. We know they've got a press conference on Thursday. We know SmackDown's on Friday. I'm not saying they can't correct this story. They can't pivot. They did in 2014, and it was wonderful what they did for Daniel Bryan and all of his fans. It was a great all-time moment at WrestleMania 30. And I find it ironic that here we are 10 years later and it feels like history is repeating itself because Batista was coming back and it's like, well, he was a top guy before. We got to put him in that spot. That's not what the fans who have been watching the product week in, week out want. And I think they're probably a little removed from it. They have to take a look at, and you know, they're monitoring it because they turned off the dislikes after it had more dislikes than any video. Yeah, they're turned off now.
You stopped it.
No, they hit 500,000 and they turned them off.
Oh,
this was covered on Fox News. This was covered on Barstool Sports. This was covered on
I love that.
TMZ. What?
That they're covering the quote unquote unhappiness. I think at the end of the day, and I know that I don't think for a second anyone within, I can't say Stanford, because it's much bigger than that. I'm saying from Ari on down, anyone within Endeavor, TKO, is trying to, hey, look over here, look over here.
No, that's not the way it is.
No, but I think from a business perspective, with the opportunity that has transitioned and The Rock now sits on the board, that they want to maximize all of this because, and you tweeted, Bruce reports to Hunter reports to Nick reports to Ari reports to Rock. Well, at the end of the day, everybody in that chain of command you just said still reports to Wall Street. And I don't ever want to forget that at the end of the day, we don't know if this was the plan or if this is the plan or if they're going to pivot or tweak or whatever it may be. I learned a long time ago, old Jarrett, son, that's why we get to go back and do live TV this Saturday morning. It's an opportunity to tweak. And I'm not saying, I think there's a difference between tweak and pivot. But let me ask you, Conrad, do you think, and we're just playing kind of fantasy here, it would have been a worse situation if that YouTube video would have gotten 95% likes? Do you think they're better off or worse with likes and dislikes?
Yeah. They're not trying. They don't want to pivot. The fans are going to force change. Here's another case in point. Go look at the video. They edited Cody out.
Bring me up to speed on that. Bring our listeners up to speed as well.
So if you go back and you watch the clip, of course, The Rock comes in the ring. Cody's already standing there with Roman. They reach out, do the handshake and the bro hug. Rock says a few things to Cody. Cody makes a little smirk, and then Cody walks back up the ramp. And they shot Cody walking back up the ramp slowly, probably sadly. All that's clipped out now. That's not on the video anymore.
The one with all the dislikes, they edited it?
They're changing the narrative because they don't want to change it. They've told the biggest star in the world, this is what we're doing. Now we got to deliver it. Make no mistake, this is Rock's WWE. Rock and Brian run WWE. And a lot of people would say, no, that's not factual. Nick Khan is CEO. Okay, well, his boss is Ari Emanuel. Well, that's right. Then Ari's the big boss. Okay. Do you know how agent-talent relationships work? Talent hires the agent, not the other way around. The Rock has the swag now. And by the way, he knows what's best for business. The dude made a tequila brand worth billions. This dude knows what he's doing, but it was a misstep, and he's got a chance to correct it.